Okay, I'm gonna try to explain how I use the Akai MPC X, and it's all the MPCs, the newest ones, they're broken down into 6 different sections. You have drum programs, plugins, key groups, which is like samples that you play along the keyboard, clips, which is audio files that run like in sync with your beats, MIDI for controlling devices with MIDI, and CV for controlling synths that have CV or modular systems. So for drum programs, I'm usually using this kit. There's some 808 hats and a couple of claps, 707 snare, a few different kick. I'm usually using this one. Couple shakers. In a lot of my jams, I'm using this sound here, which is kind of random and panning around. The way I'm doing this is I have 4 samples, and they're all taken from different parts of this loop. And there's one of the samples is just silence. So if we have these on cycle, it sounds like this. But if we have it on random, it does some fills in that, and you can pitch it around. So I'm using this sound a lot of times just to give some randomness to my beats. For the plugins, I like this Selena plugin. A little bit of clipping. You can use the pressure of the pads for vibrato. Sometimes I'm using the Odyssey plugin. It's pretty good. It has sample and hold and audio rate modulation, and it can do 4-voice polyphonic glide. And it sounds pretty good for a plugin. The Odyssey was one of the first analog synths that I used, so I know it pretty well. Key group, I have a guitar thing here. There's a lot of effects on it. Here you have like the channel mixer page. This is where all your plugins and that, or your drum programs will show up, and you can put effects on them over here. So I have, like, here's the guitar. So I have this enhancer just to hype it up, and analog sync delay plugin, and chorus and phaser. Looks like we're getting some clipping again. You have to be a little careful in the MPC with your program volume. The clips I don't use, not usually using other people's loops or drum loops or anything like that. The MIDI, the MPC has a bunch of MIDI connections at the back. Using like MIDI A for the Nord wave. Here I'm playing chord mode in the pad perform section. And you can also use it to arpeggiate which is pretty useful. You can put in your own chord progressions, but it comes with a bunch of chord progressions that have some useful chord changes. So the Nord can play 2 sounds. So if I go to A2, I get this sound. This is a FM string patch on the Nord, one that I made. So on MIDI B, I have going to the computer. This is just a Arturia MS-20 plugin. I have the MPC right next to my mouse and keyboard, so I can adjust the soft synths and play them from the pads. Also on B, I have the Moog source. I'm leaving it on this bass patch most of the time. I'm playing the Moog source through a SBX1 Roland sync box, and that'll give it portamento and some other things. Mostly because it does S-trigger. The MPC doesn't output S-triggers, and I don't have a cable currently. So what else? On C, normally I have the Zox box, which is a 303 clone on 1. 2 is the Boomstar. And 3 is the Pro 1. Sometimes I have the Behringer 2600 on this one as well, like on 4 or 1 or however I hook it up. Last time I was using it through MIDI D with a Kenton controller, but right now the Kenton is going to the CS15. Also on D, I have some 80s rack synths. And then I have some percussion stuff, the Simmons and the Boss hand clapper on these channels as well. So I have a sequence set up here. I'm usually using it in track mute mode. So this is all these different tracks that I was explaining, like everything spread out across different tracks, so you can mute it and unmute it here. I don't have this set up to really do anything right now. Oh, you can hear it a bit. So there's more stuff I do with it, but that's usually how I'm using this thing.